What's happening, guys? Welcome back. Week 13 edition of the Flea Flicker with Jackson Kane. Great to be here. It's Saturday. Great day, December 3rd. And great matchups coming up this weekend, so let's break them down. All right, so QB love this week. Drew Brees versus Detroit. He's at home. Should be a high-scoring game. Detroit, bottom 5 defense against QBs this year. And the Saints dropped 49 points last week, so they're on a roll. Love Drew Brees. Matt Ryan versus Kansas City. Philip Gaines, the cornerback opposite of Marcus Peters, just got torched last week by the Broncos. So I think that obviously Falcons have checked that out, watched the tape, and they're going to attack him all game. And also some key guys on Kansas City are banged up right now. D Ford, Don Terry Poe, and Justin Houston. And also, Kansas City ranks 8th worst against quarterbacks. So, love Matt Ryan. Phillip Rivers versus Tampa Bay. Obviously, Tampa Bay looked really, really good last week, but I don't think they can replicate that this week. And Phillip Rivers has thrown at least 2 TDs in 4 straight, so I think he keeps it rolling this week. QB hate, Blake Bortles versus Denver. Denver's great. That no-fly zone defense. No Trevor Siemian for Denver, so I suspect Denver to run the ball a lot more, try to control the clock, which will keep the ball out of Bortles' hands. So don't like Blake Bortles. Cam Newton at Seattle. He threw for 269 yards, had 2 total TDs, and had 2 picks last year at Seattle. And that was when he was playing like an MVP. Who knows what he's going to do this week. Joe Flacco versus Miami. Miami, 9th fewest passing yards allowed per game with 229. Dolphins are terrible against the run, so I think Baltimore might lean on that a little bit more in that game. Wide receiver love this week. Julio Jones versus KC. Marcus Peters, he might be a lockdown corner, but he stays on one side of the field the majority of the game, so I think Julio gets loose for a big game. 2 guys here, DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller. They've been bad all year, but I'm going to hop on the train this week. Packers defense remains banged up, especially in the secondary. Only the Niners have allowed more TDs to wide receivers, so love those 2 guys this weekend. T.Y. Hilton at the Jets. The Jets 7th worst against wide receivers, and they've allowed 10 40-plus yard passing plays this year. I could see him getting loose. Wide receiver hate this week, Allen Robinson versus Denver. Denver has allowed 111 receptions by receivers this year, which is an average of just over 10 per game to all the wide receivers on the other team. That's insane. Emmanuel Sanders / Demaryius Thomas at Jacksonville. Paxton Lynch will start for Denver. Obviously, Trevor Siemian's out. Jacksonville has allowed only 1 QB this year to surpass 280 passing yards, so don't like Paxton Lynch / his receivers. Ted Ginn Jr. at Seattle. Only 5 40-plus yard plays allowed by the Legion of Boom this year, and Michael Bennett's coming back this week, which will strengthen that defensive line. Don't like Ted Ginn. Running back love this week, Jordan Howard versus the Niners. The Niners have allowed 17 total TDs to the position, which is 1st in the league. Dead last, whatever you want to call it. And it's supposed to be snowy tomorrow in Chicago, so I think the passing games are going to be kind of down. So I like Jordan Howard. David Johnson versus the Redskins. Redskins ranked 2nd worst in yards per carry allowed on the year with 4.7, and this should be a high-scoring game, and he's at home, so love David Johnson. I love him every week, but this week especially. Doug Martin at San Diego. San Diego's tied for 2nd most TDs allowed. 2 backs with 15, and he could get many goal line opportunities with the Buccaneers chucking it down the field. San Diego's not great against the pass. RB hate this week. Jay Ajayi at Baltimore. Baltimore 1st-ranked fantasy defense against backs. They've allowed just 4 total TDs to the position this year. Next guy, Todd Gurley at New England. Breaks my heart. Love me some Todd Gurley, but rookie QB on the road at Foxborough. New England's going to be selling out to stop Gurley, so not a fan. Jonathan Stewart at Seattle. Seems like every time I put him on the hate list, he scores 2 touchdowns. So I'm putting him on here again. We'll see what happens. All right, tight end. Love this week. Kobe Fleener versus Detroit. Lions dead last against tight ends this year. High scoring game. He had his most yards last week since week 6. So I think he has a big game. Jimmy Graham versus Carolina. No Luke Kuechly again for Carolina, so who's going to cover him? Nobody. Eric Ebron at New Orleans. Saw just 1 target last week. I think they're going to want to get him back involved this week in a high-scoring game. So I see a monster game out of Eric Ebron. Tight end hate, Greg Olsen at Seattle. Can you see the theme? I'm not on the Panthers this week. Seattle's coming around on defense. They lost 14-5 last week, and they only gave up 14 in a loss. So I just don't see a good game for the Panthers. Next guy, Vance McDonald at Chicago. Like I said before, bad conditions. It's supposed to be snowy. Might be a ground and pound type of game. And Chicago's above average against tight ends. Jared Cook versus Houston. Houston, 5th ranked D versus tight ends, and they've allowed just under 5 fantasy points a game to the position. All right, on to my picks. Chance to dance. My streak was broken last week by, who was it? Thomas Rawls. He didn't score against Tampa Bay. I'm going to go with Jordan Howard versus the Niners this week to score a touchdown. Waste of space. Allen Robinson versus Denver. Just don't see him doing much. And my 3 bold predictions. Detroit versus New Orleans will combine for at least 48 points. So Saints and Lions will have at least 48 points combined. OBJ and Antonio Brown, they square off this week, will have at least 150 combined receiving yards and a touchdown. And my last pick, didn't put him on my wide receiver love, but I should have. Let's just add him to it right now. Brandon Marshall will have at least 100 yards against the Colts on Monday Night Football. That's my picks. That concludes Week 13 of the Flea Flicker with Jackson Kane. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck in this very pivotal Week 13. Go with your gut on your picks, on your lineup, and hopefully it pays off. Hope you guys make the playoffs, and good luck this weekend. Thanks.